Greetings, children, and welcome to my chamber. My name is Rotherick Gastblood, and I'm your host of Tales from the Dark Chamber. This week, we have a great show for you. Tales to make your skin crawl. Each week, my chambermate and I read a scary tale that we found on the internet, or perhaps left under some corpse. Either way, we think you're going to like it, and we're just dying for you to hear it. So sit right back, light a candle, and let's have a ghoul evening. Greetings, children. So, this week, Woody decided to take a little vacation. He won't be back for a while. He felt a little boxed in. Perhaps he got a little bit of cabin fever. Doesn't matter. He left me to host the show this week. Woody will be back next week. Until then, he left me with some of his recordings. Some stories that he thinks you'll like. I think you'll like them too. Let's see. Oh, yes. These are a few of my favorites. I believe I brought them from a crypt. So we have 3 great stories for you tonight, each of them about children. I love children, especially cooked medium rare. Oh, I'm just kidding you. So sit back, my children, and enjoy.
Son of Satan by Chelsea 91. I was with my ex for almost 7 years. I always thought there was something wrong with his oldest son. He was only 4 when we first met. I tried hard to find love for him in my heart, considering I also had 2 of my own. We were trying to make a happy family. They got along for the most part. My boyfriend at the time also had twins we saw on the weekends. They lived with their mother mostly. I first started noticing there was something off about him when we moved into our first house. We had a cat named Simon. He was an adorable little kitten we had for a short period of time. He went missing 2 weeks into moving. I looked everywhere for him. I asked the kids if they saw the cat. My 2 kids, Ashton and Caden, were devastated. They cried for days. Junior, on the other hand, didn't. I asked him where the cat was. He did not know. I left it alone for a while. I thought maybe he snuck out in the midst of grocery shopping or something and dismissed it. A few days later, there was a rancid smell coming from the closet in Junior's room. I opened the door and could not believe my eyes. The poor cat was lying on the floor in the corner with a pocket knife through its throat. I called in his father. He got so upset we didn't know what to do. We sat all 3 boys in the living room on the couch and asked them if there was anything they wanted to say about the cat. My 2 kids started crying, asking me if we had found him and if he was okay, and they wanted to play with him. Junior just sat there with a very devilish smile looking at his father. You found him, didn't you? This kid was only 5 years old. He said he wanted to send it to hell, so he killed it. I've never seen his father so mad. I was wondering if I should stick around for this or not. I didn't want my kids around a kitten killer. Looking back, I wish I did. We didn't know what to do. Should we call someone? Set up counseling, maybe? He's only 5. I know, I didn't want my sons thinking this was normal. Ashton was only 3 and Caden was 5. As well, I did not want them thinking this was normal. Through the years, it continued. Cats, mice, I'd find them here and there. Once he tried to kill my sister's dog by putting a string around its neck and pulling tight. Luckily, Caden came in and got his father. Needless to say, he got his ass beat. He was 7 when that happened. My family asked me how I could deal with this all the time and begged me to leave him, but I didn't. I thought it was a phase and it would get better, but it didn't. My last straw was a few years later at Caden's 9th birthday party. We had it at a state park so he could go fishing. I got him a new pole for his birthday. He loved it. After we had cake, I took him and the kids for a little walk so he could go see the waterfall. It was Caden's favorite part of the park. It was beautiful. Only sucky part was you had to walk up a hill to get there, and then at the top there was a drop-off. But there's benches, so you can just sit and watch the water. I should have left Junior at the bottom. I'm pretty sure he was jealous of the attention Caden was getting because it was his birthday party. He tried to push my son off the cliff. I couldn't believe it. If he wasn't holding my hand, he would have went over. I held on with everything I had and got him to safety. Then I pushed Junior up against a tree and told him that was the last straw. I dragged him to the bottom of the hill where he was kicking and screaming, yelling at me because I had saved him. I picked him up and threw him at his father and told him to leave. My ex still tries to call apologizing for what his son did. I guess he ended up in a group home, then admitted to a crazy place because he had tried to kill a member of the staff with an ice pick, but I couldn't bring myself to be around him. It's been years now since I've heard from his father or him, but I'm pretty sure I saw Junior walking in the park the other day. It scared me. It looked just like him. I'm hoping I don't have to write a part 2. The Old Man on the Hill by Dreta. Once upon a time there was an old man who lived on a hill outside of a town. The townspeople knew almost nothing about him, but most seemed to enjoy his presence. He lived alone, isolated from the others. When people visited him, he was friendly, if not a bit awkward. He had silver hair and a beard that fell to his collarbone and a face wrinkled by age and use. Still, there was one thing that puzzled the people. Every few days the old man would come out of his little house and place a doll of yarn outside. No 2 dolls were ever the same, as if each were made for a specific idea in mind. Some dolls wore smiles as if happy, while others wore frowns, seemingly angry or upset. They seemed so alive, yet so lifeless at the same time. A small sign stood next to the mailbox that read, "One of us has been waiting for you," written in black ink. One thing was clear, the dolls were not meant for decoration. The old man had intended them to be found. He once explained that every person has a doll of his that they are tied to. When asked how he knew which one went to whom, he simply replied in a soft voice, "I don't, but you will when you see yours." Ever since then, all who go up on the hill have taken a doll and have never let it go. This went on for a long time. More and more people visited the town and the little hill wanting to find their own doll. All went well until a small group of teenagers paid a visit. They were skeptical at first, but the people of the town insisted that the dolls were special. To prove the town wrong, the group went up the hill during the night and burned every doll that had not yet been claimed. The next morning, the old man opened his door to look for his children that he had created. Yet he found only ashes. The group walked up to the man, laughing and boasting about their deed. The old man looked at them and in a cracked voice whispered, "What have you done? I didn't want them to hurt anyone." He looked back at the ashes and ran inside, locking his door. The group thought nothing of it and marched down the hill victoriously, but nobody saw them leave the town. The people thought nothing of this at first, until a group of bodies showed up in a basement of an unoccupied house. Most of the dolls had mysteriously disappeared as well. The bodies were burned and badly damaged, so much so that they were never identified. No one ever saw the old man again, although one more doll appeared outside the house. This doll was white and had a fancy black suit on its small body. The odd thing was that a small single strand of yarn adorned the face under one of the black button eyes, as a bloody tear of regret immortalized so all could bear witness to its uncommitted sins. All saw, but no one took it, as they all knew that it belonged to the old man on the hill. Leica by Legillemans. based on the Leica-chan doll rumors. In the middle of nowhere, the first snow of the year was slowly covering the streets of the small town. The sound of cars and people talking was accompanied by the cheerful carols sung by kids, and a so familiar scent of cinnamon and oranges was filling the air. A little girl and her father were walking from one shop to another looking for Christmas presents. They had already bought a scarf for Grandma and a new watch for Mom when they stopped in front of a toy shop. Inside, there were plenty of amazing toys, from dolls to cars to anything you can imagine. The father told the little girl she could choose any toy she wants. As she was trying to decide between a dollhouse and a pony, she laid her eyes upon a dusty old doll with 2 missing fingers. She immediately dropped the other 2 toys and reached for the doll. Despite her father's complaints about the choice she made, she didn't change her mind. They became inseparable. Finally, the father paid for the doll, and the cashier carefully wrapped it with a concerned expression. The girl couldn't wait until Christmas, so when they got into the car, she unwrapped the doll. A little note fell from inside the packaging. You must always leave Leica in the car during the night. You must always lock the doors of the car, the girl read out loudly. The father was startled by the note, and initially he wanted to throw the doll away. But at his daughter's plea, he decided to keep the doll and do just what the note said. Nothing happened for a while. The girl was playing all day long with their new doll, and she was always locking her in the car during the night. Christmas passed, and so did the winter holiday. It was the last night before school started, and the girl was enjoying her last hours of playing with Leica. When the night came, she went outside and carefully placed the doll in the car as usual. But this time, she forgot to lock the door. As she was tucking herself in bed, she could swear she heard a pitched voice saying, 1, 2, 3, I'm getting out. She didn't really mind it, thinking that it could have been the TV. Then again, when she was about to fall asleep, the voice said, 2, 3, 4, I'm at the front door. This time she really got scared and wanted to go into her parents' room. They were sleeping soundly, so she decided not to wake them up. On the way to the bathroom, she heard again, 3, 4, 5, I'm in the hall. Tears were running down her cheeks, and her heart was skipping beats. 4, 5, 6, I'm next to the bathroom. As the girl was washing her face with water, she was petrified to look around, even though she couldn't hear or see anything. Leaning on the sink with her eyes facing the faucet, she managed to catch a glimpse of her mother's new watch. It was almost 12 o'clock. 5, 6, 7, look in the mirror. The next morning, when her father entered the bathroom, he almost fainted in horror. The little girl was hanging from the ceiling, with Grandma's new scarf tied around her neck. On the floor, there was Mother's watch showing 12 o'clock, and next was sitting Leica, who was now missing 3 fingers. Okay, finally made it out of that. Would you believe he put me in a coffin? Of all things. Anyway, listen, thank you for putting up with Rotherick there. Well, I'll be back next week again to bring you some more stories, okay? This time, I'll be in front of the microphone. Maybe I'll put Rotherick in that coffin, except he'd probably love it. Anyway, folks, have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye. Well, folks, that's our story tonight. Rotherick and I hope you enjoyed it. We sure had a great time bringing it to you, and we really appreciate you listening. Tune in next week when we bring you another chilling tale from the Dark Chamber. And just a note, if you're an aspiring author and you want your story read here on Tales from the Dark Chamber, send us a note at talesfromthedarkchamber@gmail.com. If it creeps old Rotherick out enough, we'll air it. And subscribe to our podcast for notification of our next new episode, or subscribe to our YouTube channel at Tales from the Dark Chamber and follow us on Instagram or Twitter. If you want your story read for your own use, or you just want to have it, check out my website at woodygvoiceover.net. You can order there, or you can find me on Upwork as Woody G. And again, thank you for listening tonight.